Hello there, Leos. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. We are going to be breaking this forecast down into time segments. I think it's better to be able to watch the movement or the flow of the energy through the month than just do one overarching thing. I think uh, this will give you a more accurate idea about things that are going on through the month, so I hope you find it helpful. The first time frame that we're looking at is going to be September the 1st through the 8th. So that's what we're going to take a peek at here. Let's put down some cards, Leo. All right. Okay, Leos, first things that we have showing up, talk to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it's home, but it doesn't have to be. It could be another place as well. So taking a peek here, it looks like you are making some long-term plans about your environment. It looks like you have received some kind of news or information about something around your environment or around your income having to do with your environment. And this is not the kind of news or information that we want to have. It may be, that your utility bill is much higher than you wanted it or something like that. But I do see that you are, because of this, you're deciding that you want to make a change in your environment. And so you're holding back. You're starting to stash back money to make some changes coming up. So this is not something, you're not actually making these changes during the week of September 1st through 8th, but you are preparing to. You're starting to stash back some money and save back some money to make some of those changes so that you can improve that situation having to do with finances around your environment. Alrighty. Let's look next at your subconscious leanings. What do we have here? There is somebody on your mind, somebody who is logical, who really thinks things through. Everything has to add up for him to move forward on it. Probably a him, could be a her, but for most of you I think it'll be a him that's on your mind. And I think you're trying to figure out what you want to do with this person. There's a lot of options about how to handle this person in your life. Like what kind of experience do you want to actually have with this person? And it looks to me like this person may be somebody who is getting away from some kind of addiction, or it may be that you're getting away from some kind of addiction, and it's really bringing up this question about, how does this person fit into my life now? If you're the one giving up the addiction, is this person somebody who it's going to be a temptation to go back to that addiction when you're associating with them? Or is this somebody who is, they're giving up some kind of addiction and they're going through all that stuff that they go through whenever they walk away from an addiction, which generally makes people grumpy and sometimes paranoid and all kinds of wonderful stuff. So there's something going on with the idea that somebody is getting rid of an addiction and you're trying to figure out where someone fits into your life. I'm not sure if it's you trying to get rid of the addiction or if it's them, but you're trying to figure out where this person fits in your life now that that change is being made. And that's what's going on in your subconscious mind. La da 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 da. Okay, Leos, what's next? Next. We're looking at learning style and communication style during the time frame, September 1st through the 8th. There's definitely some information that you're going over again. I think you felt like you had a good grip on it at one time, but you haven't used this information for a while, and so you're going back over it again. You may be getting back into some type of activity you haven't done for a while, or working some type of job you haven't worked for a while. But there's definitely this idea of going back over old information and refreshing it for yourself. Yeah. And I think there's a lot that's on your mind that you're thinking about too. As far as learning style, there's a lot that you're sorting out that doesn't necessarily have to do with this old information. There's just a lot that you're sorting out, a lot of things that you're putting together through School of Hard Knocks, basically, and thinking things over and picking out the lessons from the experiences that you've had. Now, as far as communication style right now, you may be dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to communication. You may be having a hard time keeping up with getting all the information across to people that they need right now. This came up for somebody else too, and I think this same week. There may be some kind of technical issues that are hindering communication, or it may be just that you guys are having a hard time actually having the time to communicate with each other. You may be, crossing like ships in the night, and so you're not able to communicate with them like you normally would. And so there are things that are kind of falling between the cracks that aren't being handled very well because of that whole unable to communicate situation. Yep. And then there is another situation too where I think that you are deliberately not saying something about some information that you have or some information that you know. Why is this happening? I think you're trying to keep the peace, actually. I think you feel like if somebody else knew this information that you knew, that would cause a big ruckus or a lot of chaos. And so I think you're just trying to keep this quiet. What I'm picking up about this, though, this particular bit of information that you're trying to keep quiet to keep chaos from happening, this bit of information is going to come out, and it's going to come out that you knew about it, and that's not going to look very good on you. Okay? So you have free will. The beauty of watching these things ahead of time is that if you feel energy coming in that you don't like, you can actually, by your own free will, change that. So you may not want to be caught hiding information that would be critical to somebody else. All right, next thing that we're looking at has to do with work. Workity work, work. Okay, so I feel like work is going really good for you. You're doing really well at whatever it is that you call work, as far as how you make a living or what you do to feel productive in the community. I also feel like there is some kind of surprise coming up that you're not prepared for at work. I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I can't say that I think it's necessarily good, but I'm leaning more towards the fact that whatever the surprise is a pleasant surprise just because you're doing really well at whatever it is that you do at work. I think you're going to continue to do really well even after the surprise comes up, and the surprise may even actually strengthen you. So I am leaning more towards that this is something that is more of a pleasant surprise, although I can't really say that cards indicate that completely, but my feeling is more that it's more of a pleasant surprise. And even if it starts off as not pleasant in the beginning, I think it could be mildly annoying. It ends up turning a situation around into your favor. So either way, that surprise is a good thing. Let's look next at that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded as you go through this time frame. There is this whole idea about being really honest and open and direct about how you've been feeling with somebody that is actually going to strengthen that partnership. Okay? Now, it could be a romantic partnership, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a business partnership, friendship, family relationship, whatever. But it looks to me like you're being really honest with somebody about the fact that you've been feeling like you're left out or made to be less important or unimportant in this partnership or in this situation. And you actually expressing that and giving this person a chance to respond to that is going to end up strengthening that bond that you have with this person. All right. Next thing that we're looking at, after I get screensaver off, next thing that we're looking at is those things that you stand for. Is this someone in their lives, or is this them? So it looks like, Leos, you've made some kind of rash decision. And you made that rash decision because you were getting a lot of confusing information and you basically were confused. And this rash decision was to go back to something that you had left before because it was making you feel depleted. And so you'd left it, it was making you feel depleted. You were looking for something that was more of a two-way street where everybody was putting in energy and everybody was getting out energy. And then you were confused after you left it, and you made a rash decision to go back to it. And this is what you're having to stand up for. You're having to stand up for, okay, yeah, so I did that. Sue me. Everybody makes mistakes. Okay? How the person who is asking you about this or confronting you about this, how they see you right now is as somebody who is very patient, but they're seeing you as kind of having locked yourself into a situation. And that situation that you've locked yourself into is one that creates a distance between you and them. Creates some kind of barrier between you and them. Okay? Alright, so now let's look at some other stuff. Let's look at the flex point during this time frame. This is where things start to change direction. Got some interesting things happening. I feel like there's somebody who has narcissistic tendencies who's in your sphere of influence during this time frame, Leo. And I feel like you are really getting some good ideas about how to interact with them in a more productive way. And that's a challenge. Somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, that's a challenge. So for you to actually have ideas about how to interact with them in a productive way is kind of amazing and cool and like, wow, congratulations to you type of situation. That's awesome. And it looks like, you know, you figuring out how to interact with this person in a more productive way really is paying off for you. I like to see that. I like to see that because usually interacting with a narcissistic type person doesn't pay off for anybody. So it's nice to see that you've figured out whatever that magic key is, you've turned it. So good for you. Now, what else is going on at the same time? Things are going really well for you, especially when it comes to things that you're thinking about very logically, whether that's running your household, whether that's running a business, whether that's working, whether that's planning for your retirement. Something that you're working on that you're using your logic for is actually going really, really well for you, better than expected. I don't think that you were feeling really hopeful around this situation, but the wheel is turning in your favor here. Luck is on your side, so things are going better than you thought. What else is happening at the same time you're dealing with this narcissistic person successfully? La, da, 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 da. Really nice stuff. This is really nice stuff. Like, I think you guys have the best reading so far, at least at this point, of anybody that I've read for. You guys are number 5, so out of the first 4. You guys are manifesting. You're manifesting a lot of communication, a lot of interactions around family, around tribe, around things that make you feel secure. Tribe is at your workplace. There are things going on where the money is flowing. If your tribe has to do with family and friends, there's a lot of security happening here. People are feeling like they have everything they need, and this is just basically happy family life, or happy life in your tribe. Now, I talk about tribe a lot because, you know, we have families that are blood, okay? And then we also have families that we choose along the way, and we consider them like a sister or a brother or whatever. So those people are tribe. Those family members that we choose along the way, to me, they're tribe. And I talk about them a lot because I think that for many of us, they play a significant role in our lives. Not everybody has huge families. Some people build themselves huge tribes instead to still have that solid support network of people that they just enjoy being around. All right, so where do we see you at the end of this particular time frame, Leos? There is somebody that you're attracted to, and I think you've been kind of missing them. And I think when we get to the end of this particular time frame, I think you are reaching out to them and seeing if it's possible to spend some more time with them, or maybe even to get back together with them completely. All right, now this could be a romantic thing, and for a lot of you it will be, but there's also a lot of you that this is just going to be a friendship that fell on hard times, or a family relationship that was difficult, or a tribe relationship that was difficult, that now you're coming back to this because you missed that person and you're realizing that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end that there, and then I'm taking a break, and I'll come back and we'll look at the next time frame for you. Thank you for being here, Leos. Hello there, Leo. We are back again. This time we're going to be looking at the segment of time from September 9th through September the 16th. We're going to take a peek at what's going on in your world. That last time segment was pretty exciting. A lot of good stuff happening there. I like it when I have those types of readings. It's a breath of fresh air to be able to say things that people are going to be happy to hear. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on for you guys now. Now, when I say now, it's because I'm in the time frame of the reading. So when I say now, it's going to be the date that we have in the corner there. That now. Time is fluid. Time is fluid. Okay, so we are looking at September 9th through the 16th. We're going to start with the environment. That's any place where you have energy or effort invested, usually home, but could be someplace else as well. Is this Leo or is this somebody else? It looks like there could be a whole lot of energy going on in your environment right now. It looks like there is somebody who is in charge of the chaos, is the phrase that I'm being given on this. You guys are in a rehab job and you have a contractor in there in charge of some subcontractors. Or there could be, if this is a work situation, this could be where somebody comes in and they're restructuring or reorganizing the workplace. But I feel like there's a lot of chaos going on in your environment. There is a particular person who is in charge of this chaos and in charge of where it all ends up whenever it's done. I don't believe that that is you, okay? So, you know, if this could be a landlord, if this is work, this could be a boss or somebody coming in from outside to help and advise. But there's a lot of chaos going on, and I think that that chaos is under the direction of somebody who has an intention or a purpose with it. And I think that this is going to be something that causes you some frustration as they're going through this process, as long as this chaos is still... I'm not sure chaos is the right word, but there's a lot of energy around. There's a lot of changes being made. And as long as these changes are being made, this could be very frustrating. So like, if this is a rehab, there could be a lot of noise going on, hammering and banging and power tools and blah, blah, blah. You know, if there's some kind of restructuring happening, you know, different people are now in charge of different areas than what they used to be. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, communication that has to happen to get everybody on the same page. You know, so this can be really frustrating where you thought you had to go to a certain person for an approval of something. Now it's a completely different person, or you don't even do that thing that you're trying to get the approval for, or whatever. So there's a lot There's a lot of changes happening in your environment, and I think that this is really frustrating for you. I think it's a short time frame that it's happening for, but I think that while it's going on, it's really frustrating because the energy is scattered all over and there are changes being made really quickly. All right, so that was really an interesting start to looking at our energy. That was an interesting first peek. Let's see what comes up in your subconscious leanings. What's going on here? There's definitely something that you're hoping for. Just trying to make sense of this. So it's interesting because I think you feel like you haven't been getting enough pay or enough income. And I think what you're hoping for is for that situation to be rectified or fixed. You may be hoping for a pay raise or a promotion. You may be hoping for a new position that pays you better. Or you may even be hoping to get something that is your own off the ground as a sideline type gig, aside of what you're doing as far as with some type of employer. But there's something here. You definitely want your income situation rectified so that you have more of it coming in. You want more success in the financial realm. And that's what you're working on subconsciously. Probably consciously too, but definitely subconscious is trying to wrap itself around that. So next we're looking at learning style. I do think that you're finding out some painful information. And when I say painful information, this would be like, say that you're researching, okay, how do I do this gig on the side? And you're finding out, oh, I have to get this permit and I have to pay so much or whatever. You're finding out that there's going to be more involved than what you thought, and it may be a little daunting at first. It may even make you question whether you can move forward with whatever this is that you're finding out the information about. I think you're also realizing here that there's more due to your due diligence. In other words, you need to do more of your due diligence before you actually take action. I think it's almost a sense of you're figuring out what you don't know yet. And what you still need to learn. Yeah, and so I think you're seeing a path in front of you, but that path is being modified or changed with the more information that you have. And so right now you're still just looking at that path and making sure you've got as many details as you possibly can have before you start forward, so that you don't run into a roadblock that you're not expecting. So definitely learning about how to do something new, and I feel like really on your own, and what all kinds of hoops you're going to have to go through to accomplish that. As far as your communication style during this time frame, there's a lot of little chit chat and what I as a Scorpio call meaningless conversation going on. Although it's interesting, you can always pull nuggets even out of the meaningless conversations. But I think that occasionally in your communication, you are definitely putting some facts out there. I think you're putting them out there in a harsher way than probably is necessary. It's almost like you're really frustrated with somebody and you want them to wake up to some type of reality. And it's almost like, I feel like you may be like almost beating them over the head with the 2x4, as the old saying goes, to try to get them to understand something. Some of the things that you're saying can be very cutting as you're trying to get somebody to understand something that's in your sphere of influence. You do have other communication, though, that's going on that is really full of emotion and full of compassion. It's like you've got this split personality when it comes to communication right now, because with some people, you're definitely being as compassionate as you can be and communicating what you need to with them. And with others, there are these barbs and this sharpness to what you're saying. All right, let's look next at work, Leo. What's going on here when it comes to work? So Leos, it looks like you may be leaving home to go to work. For some of you, this could mean that you're doing some business travel out of town or out of state or out of country even. But for others of you, maybe you've been working at home because of the whole coronavirus thing. Well, now maybe they're calling you back to come in and work at the location that you work at, or maybe you've even been out of work and now they're calling you back to work. So you're going away from home, one way or the other. You're going away from home to go to work. And what you're finding out as you do this is that you're not as happy about working away from home as you used to be. Your perspective on the idea of working away from home has definitely changed during the last few months that we've been going through all this cray-cray stuff. And now it's really hard on you emotionally to be going away from home to working. This is a heartache or a heartbreak card that just tells me that this is really, really rough on you to have to do this. You don't want to have to go away from home to work. Okay? So next we're going to look at inner work. That was outer work. I think you're noticing some things about your own particular self right now, that you're realizing that you're not really living up to your highest and best self like you would like to. You're realizing that you're doing some things that you never once as a child said, oh, I hope I grow up and I be like this. And I think you're really looking at this and you're facing this. And I think you're doing something about changing it. You're really looking at, how can I change those patterns? How can I change those habits? And I think you're being very proactive in working on changing those. That's your inner work. All right. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. So you're realizing that right now, being the time frame in the corner again, remember, you're realizing that you're in a situation where things are not reciprocal, where you're putting in more energy and effort than the other party. And you're realizing that where before you thought that this situation was going to be an ideal situation for you, now you're realizing that it's close, but not worthy of the cigar. It's not exactly right. And so I think what's going on here is, as you're recognizing that if you would stay in this situation, you're settling for something a little subpar, and you're seeing that things are not reciprocal or even in this situation, and so you're calling an end to it. And that's where you're growing and expanding, is in this point of, standing up for yourself and saying, this isn't really what I want, and I need to pull this to an end so that I can make room for something that is what I want to come into my life. Okay? And that can be an employment situation, that can be a relationship with friends, that can be a membership in an organization. There's a lot of things that can be, a lot of different ways that can pan out. Okay? So the next thing we're looking at is those things that you stand for, that thing that you stand for right now. Okay, so it looks like whatever it is that you pulled away from, that we just saw, where you're growing and expanding, where you realized it wasn't ideal and you pulled away from it or pulled out of this, called that interaction over, has been a situation that in the past you really liked it. Well, we already saw that in the past you thought it was ideal, so of course you did. But now, not so much. And it's not bringing you what you want it to bring you. It isn't reaching your targets or your goals. And you're not doing that collaboration anymore. You're not collaborating with that energy anymore. And so somebody is saying to you, hey, how come? You're just explaining, you know what, I thought it was the right thing at one point, but it became apparent to me that it's not. And there really wasn't collaboration there because I was putting in more energy and effort than anybody else. And so I needed to, it just made sense to pull out of that. And so how the other person sees you after explaining this, they see you as somebody who was in a situation where you were really generous with somebody or with some group of people, and now you're not. You're not putting energy or effort into that anymore. They're seeing you as somebody who is very much independent and standing self-sufficient on your own. And they're seeing you as somebody who is moving away from drama, moving away from negative energy, and towards something that is calmer and more peaceful. So they get it. After you explained it, they get it. They know what's going on now. That's kind of nice. You don't always see that people get it in these spreads. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is your flex point, where things start to change for this particular time period. This is kind of crazy. Okay, Leos. So here's the deal. Your flex point has to do with a decision that somebody else made to cut you out of some kind of situation. Okay? Maybe even a business deal. Maybe a relationship, but the business deal is the first thing that kind of comes up to me, that kind of energy. So for most of you, I think this is going to be a business deal. For some of you, yeah, it'll be a relationship, but I think that's the minority. What you have here is somebody who is, I don't know if I really want to use the word toxic, but they're corrupt. Corrupt is a better word for this particular situation and this energy that I'm feeling. You've got somebody here that is corrupt. And they are trying to do things that are below the board. And I'm not sure that you actually realize that they were trying to do things below the board. I think that you might have had some suspicions about that, but not really any evidence. And I think that they have figured out that you don't want to do stuff below the board. You would rather not get yourself into that kind of trouble. You would like to keep your nose clean. Life is just happier when we keep our noses clean. And I think that that has a lot to do with them deciding to cut you out of something. Because they know that they can't count on you to do whatever it takes, whether it's legal or not legal. So they're cutting you out of this situation. However, where it could feel like, so if you're getting cut out of this situation and you don't know why, you don't know this reason that shows up here, somebody just is cutting you out of a situation where you thought everything was good, then that can feel pretty yucky. You know, that can feel like a betrayal. But these cards are indicating that them cutting you out of this situation actually gives you freedom and liberation. And I really have the sense that whatever they're doing, for most of you, whatever these people are doing is illegal. And they know they can't ask you to do something illegal. And so you actually being cut out of this situation cuts you out of a need to either do something illegal or find out about somebody else doing something illegal and keep your mouth shut, or be considered an accessory. Okay? So this is basically saying that you are given your freedom and you're given your liberation. And the fact that it's coming up that you're getting freedom and liberation by being cut out of this situation makes me really wonder if there's not somebody who will end up going to jail down the road for, or prison, for some of the things that are going on here. Okay, so I think that, in fact, I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty sure that if somebody is cutting you out of something during this time frame, and you don't really understand why it feels like betrayal to you, I think you should be happy about it. I think you should be happy about it because you dodged the bullet there in a very big way. Okay? Now, what's going on at the same time as this? It looks to me like you may be partnering up with somebody else and making some kind of investment or putting some kind of, you guys are both, Leo, you and this other person are both spending some money, putting out some energy of some kind. Doesn't actually have to be money. Could be sweat equity. But you're putting out some kind of energy towards something. And both of you, I think both of you are pulling from savings or from things that you have stashed back. And so it looks to me like this is partnering up for some type of investment is what I see coming up here. Both of you are definitely putting in energy to reach some type of goal together. So this is not going to be the person that cut you out or the people that cut you out. This is going to be something else that you have going too. And this looks like this is a good thing. It doesn't, I don't have any kind of overtones of criminal activity there. All right, what else is going on at the same time as that? So, yeah, this earlier where I said it has definite overtones of work, where this person is cutting you out of a deal. I'm going to say that definitely this is coming up as work now with these new cards that I've put down. And I think you have been released from either a project or a position. You're not working for a little while, and I think that is a surprise to you. And I think that you are looking for work very quickly. So not only are you unexpectedly finding yourself without work or without a contract, you're looking just as fast as you're finding yourself without it, and you're also collaborating with somebody else to make some kind of investment. So you've got a lot on your plate right now. You've got a lot on your plate right now. You've got your irons and a couple of fires, 2 or 3 fires. All right, let's see where we find you at the end of this time frame. La da 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 da, la da da da. You are making a decision when we get to the end of this time frame. And this decision has to do with the idea that somebody, you're feeling like somebody definitely did betray you. And you no longer have good feelings towards this person. Like, you're upset about this. And you question, you know, how they actually feel about you because they did what they did. And so when we get to the end of this time frame, what we find is you're making a decision about how you're going to handle this situation, how much interaction you're going to have with this person going forward. What are those interactions going to be like? Are they going to exist at all? Okay, so that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. So a lot of stuff going on. Some of it's good, some of it's not so hot, but definitely we have some things happening. This is a very active time period for you, Leos. All right, let's wrap this up. I'll take a break, come back, and we'll look at our next time segment. Thank you for being here. Hello again, Leos. We are back. This time we're looking at September the 17th through the 23rd. Looks like there's a lot going on in your life whenever we wrapped up the last time frame. So let's see what's happening now. Let's see what's happening now. Let's see what's happening now. Now being September 17th through the 23rd, excuse me. Alrighty, Leos, what do we have going on? Okay. Let's start off with your environment. This is any place where you have energy or effort invested, usually home, but it could be someplace else as well. Okay, so remember before, like the very first time frame we had for this month, we were seeing that there was something that was kind of costing you money in your environment and you were setting back money to change that, to upgrade that. Well, I think whatever this is has kind of come to a climax, and I think that it is costing you even more money by the time we're looking at this week, or this time frame, the September 17th through the 23rd. It looks to me like whatever's going on, you're not able to set some money back at this point. Everything's just flowing through evenly. Whatever you make towards your environment is going into that environment for right now. There's nothing being held back to save for upgrade or for later. And what I'm picking up on this is that this is something that you're very keenly aware of, and it's not making you very happy. Not making you feel very happy, because you really want to make progress on this situation, and I just don't see it happening during this particular time frame. Now, we just had a lot of stuff going on in your environment right before, so whatever this is, I don't know if that progress just hasn't been, if that change just hasn't been finished, or what. That would be something for a private reading, to see everybody's individual energies instead of the group energy, because that'll be different for everybody. Anyway, though, let's move on. We are doing a general reading, so let's move on to the general reading for what's going on in your subconscious minds, Leos. Looks to me like you are dealing with some kind of problem or some kind of frustration you're not quite sure how to deal with, or how to make this come out the way that you need it to. And this is kind of unusual for you, Leos, because you think outside the box. Usually you're pretty good at problem solving because you're not limited or restricted like a lot of people are in their thinking, of, the same as everybody else. You're not in that kind of restriction. So for you to be in a situation where you're having a hard time problem solving, I think this is unusual. This is unusual for you. And I think that you are taking some time to really stop and think this over alone, and really just look at this. It feels to me like you don't want the distraction of other people's jabbering or thoughts or whatever. You want to look at this for yourself, because you want to be the one that makes the decision about what to do moving forward with this problem that you just don't quite know how to solve yet. So your subconscious leanings are really looking at, how do I get some time to think about this by myself without people overloading me with their own, I'm hearing it, meaningless opinions. Okay, so next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. You're definitely learning some new information, and I feel like this is basic information about something. I'm not saying that this is basic information about life, like common sense that we all have, but I think you're learning about something, and you're just learning the basics. This is something that you haven't been exposed to before, or you don't know about. So I feel like you're just learning the basics of this, and I feel like you're kind of having to learn it as you go. I think you're having to learn it and take action on it. And I think that you're having to find out information so that you can make decisions about what action to take. So this is definitely learning something by the seat of your pants, and really just learning the basics of whatever this is. I do think that there's somebody around you who is able to share information and to be somewhat of a mentor to you. Not completely, but somewhat. They're able to give you some good ideas and some good tips in general, although I'm not sure that they're able to really tell you exactly what to do with this specific situation that you're trying to learn about and learn how to overcome. Yep. And I think part of the learning that you're doing is you're hearing about other people's experiences that are similar to yours, and I think somebody's sharing with you where they made some mistakes. And so their hope is, and I think that you're going to do it, their hope is that you will learn from their mistakes and not make the same mistakes going forward, that you'll go in a different direction to get the successful outcome that you're looking for. Now, communication style. I think you are communicating with quite a few people. I think that you are looking for different perspectives around this situation. I think also you are communicating with somebody that you're just trying to resolve this in some kind of peaceful way. Like you're not trying to stir up trouble or stir up a situation or stir up chaos, that you're trying to resolve this, whatever this is that you're trying to learn about, that you're trying to resolve it in a very peaceful way. And I think also your communication is very pointed about this, in that I think you're being very blunt with somebody about, look, this is my situation. This is what I think I'm going to do about it so far. I think you may even be saying, I'm open to better ideas if you see them, because I think you've got an idea about what you need to do. I don't think you're so thrilled about what this idea is. And I think that that's part of why we saw you still looking for a solution. I think you're looking for something that's going to work better than what seems to be the solution that's on the table for you here. La-da-dee-da, la-da-dee-da. Okay, next thing that we're looking at has to do with work. You are cutting your feelings out of work right now. Where you may have paid attention to your feelings to make work decisions before, now you're in a position where you feel like you can't do that. You can't use your empathy. You can't use your sympathy. You have to look at the bottom line here as you're dealing with work and as you're dealing with decisions regarding work. And so I think you're being incredibly logical to extremes, or at least it feels extreme to you. And I think also when we look at work, there is this sense of that there's a gift, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity, and I think that you're really happy and really grateful to have this opportunity. I also think that it's really important to you that you make sure that you get this right. And I think that's why you're taking any kind of emotions out of any decisions about this opportunity, so that you make sure that you get it, you do get it right. Now, as far as inner work, your inner work right now is to really love yourself and to care for yourself as a person, as an individual. And I think also your inner work right now is to realize that other people are going to say things about you that may or may not be on base. And to realize that really what people think of you, the only person that it matters what they think of you is you when you look yourself in the mirror. And so your inner work is getting to that point of realizing, look, it doesn't really matter what all these other people think, because I have to live with me. I'm the one that has to sleep in my bed at night. Okay? And the inner work is also about just taking care of you, refortifying you, re-energizing you. Okay. What part of your personality is being grown or expanded as you go through this particular time period? Let's find out, Leo. Look at this. You've been working on this. Okay. So whenever it comes to work, you're getting something done that is bringing in the bacon, baby. You're bringing in that income. I know before we saw a couple of different times you were really frustrated about not getting the appropriate amount of sustenance back. I think you have got something going on now where you're feeling like you're getting paid the way you're supposed to be getting paid. And also, you're enjoying what you're doing. And I think you're seeing potential for a lot more that you could be doing. And you're really liking this. I think also this is something, this is something kind of new. You realize that you liked this before. Okay? But you're doing some kind of work that's bringing home the bacon, and you're enjoying it, and you're seeing potential for how this could grow, how this could get bigger. I like it. You guys have some good things going on. Okay, Leo, Leo, Leo. Next thing we're looking at are those things that you stand for. You may be walking away from the idea of having an employer completely. For a lot of you, I think that's what it is. But definitely, this is walking away from some type of commitment or contract. Okay? This could be walking away from a marriage, but I've got to say that so far these energies haven't so much been focused around that type of partnership. They've been more focused around work, so I think this has more to do with work than personal life. But I really can't take that off the table. So for some of you, you could be walking away from a marriage. Here's the thing. Whether you're walking away from the idea of an employer, or whether you're walking away from a marriage, or whether it's some other type of commitment or contract that you're walking away from, it's really relieving a lot of stress. You had a lot of stress about this contract or commitment, and that, as you walk away from it, that is gone. And also, there was a lot of boredom here. There was a lot of boredom, and there was a lot of missed opportunity, potential that could have been, that was not tapped into. And walking away from this contract or commitment allows you to grow and do something that makes you feel more fulfilled or more happy. It allows you to take other opportunities that allow for more growth. So whatever this contract or commitment is that you're walking away from, it really helped your stress level. And it also is allowing you to make room for something that's gonna help you to really grow and move forward and expand. Now, that's something that you're standing for or defending. How this other person views you, that asked you about this or confronted you about this, they see you as somebody who's angry, actually. Maybe that's why they think that you've walked away from this contract or commitment, because of your anger. They're seeing you as somebody who is angry, and somebody who definitely is on a brand new beginning, not really knowing how it's going to turn out. And I think that they're seeing you as also slowing down communications with them, that you're not interacting with them as much, or that they may feel like they need to slow down interactions with you right now because they feel like you're angry. They really don't get where you're coming from. Maybe they think you're angry because they feel like you haven't been communicating with them. Maybe they think you're angry at them. That could be too. Either way, this person really does not get where you're coming from, even after the explanation. All right, so next thing we're going to look at is the flex point during this time frame. What's going on that is changing things up, shifting the energy in a different direction. You really have a choice to make, and this is a choice about how you're going to handle things moving forward. You've got more than one option. All your options are good. You've actually got a couple of good ideas, maybe more than a couple of good ideas about how to move forward. And I think that you're going to be making some type of decision, because you've been feeling like you're in a kind of hopeless place when it comes to security or when it comes to family, one of those two. And so you're making a decision about what you can do to change that and to come into a place that is more hopeful and more happy when it comes to family and security. La da da da. What else is happening at this same time? I don't think you're feeling like you're in a very strong position right now. I think you're feeling like you're kind of vulnerable in life in general, in your stability at this point. But there is something that makes you happy, and you want to take that thing to the next level. That could have been the work that we saw earlier even. And I think that actually you're going to do that. I think you're going to be pretty good at manifesting, taking that thing to the next level that brings you happiness. And I think it's also going to be very profitable for you as well. Now, what else is happening during this time frame? So you have a situation with somebody in your sphere of influence, Leos. And I think that this is somebody that you're going to consider family, or you're going to consider a tribe member, where things just are not going very well in the relationship. And the reason they're not going very well in the relationship is because this other person is treating you as an option instead of treating you as having the priority that you should have. So that could be a romantic relationship. That could also be a business partnership, though, where the same thing could be happening, where somebody's treating you as an option instead of as the partner that you're supposed to be. Could also be a family situation. I mean, it really comes up to me as this is more about tribe, more about family. This could be a romantic partner, romantic interest. This could be a family member. This could be a close friend, somebody that you would consider a part of the tribe. And they're just not giving you the priority that you've earned in their life. All right. Where do we see you at the end of this time frame? There is a massive explosion that shows up here. And, you know, whenever we're feeling insecure about something, what showed up here, that we were feeling insecure about things, even though you're being proactive and you're doing things to make yourself feel like you're getting your feet back under you as far as stability, especially financially, but possibly also family-wise, that insecurity is still there. And so there is something that happens where I think there's a big blowout here. And this big blowout between you and another person, I think this causes you to take some kind of escapist type actions. So escapist type actions are things like indulging in addictions, playing video games so you don't have to think about the real world. You know, whatever is your thing so that you can get away from reality, that's an escapist action. And so I think that this big blowout or this big fight has you doing some escapist actions because it has you upset. And the thing is, I don't think that this person that you had the blowout with, I don't think that your relationship is over. I don't think you've had your last interactions. There's going to be more coming up. You guys have some stuff to hash out, and that's going to be coming up again. Okay, so that's not over. Although I think it feels to you like it's over after this explosion, it's not. There are some things that have to be hashed out here. So just be prepared that you haven't seen the last of this person. Okay? And you're going to get to decide, you know, what do you want to do when you see them again? Do you want to be angry and cut off communication, or do you want to try to get things back on a good track again? All right? So anyway, that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. I'm going to go ahead and take another break, come back, and then we'll wrap up the month for you. See you soon, Leo. Hello again, Leos. We are back to look at the last segment of the month of September for you. This is going to be September the 24th through September the 30th. Let's see what's going on in your world during this time frame. La da da da. La da da da. Okay. First of all, let's start with your environment. Let's see what's going on here. This has been kind of an interesting thing for us lately. Oh, I like it. So things are going really smooth. Things are falling into place as far as the environment. It looks like whatever this was that was financially dragging you down in the environment finally is turned around and going the other direction. Very happy to see that. There is a sense of the belt being tightened up a little bit, so there is some kind of care or concern being taken for what's being spent in the environment or on the environment. But even with this card here, the other two cards that come up with it really offset that. They tell me that, you know, you're doing what it takes to make sure that this works out, and things are working together well for you. So there's no unlucky things like water heaters going out or something like that. Things are falling into place on this now. I'm liking that. That's a way positive way to start this. Woot woot. Let's look at subconscious leanings now for you, Leos. Oh, wow. Okay. We went from super positive to, oh my goodness. So Leos, in your subconscious, you're working on some kind of target or goal that you are wanting to reach, and you're having a hard time reaching it. And this is a target or goal that not only requires your input, but also other people as well have to contribute for this to actually work well. Okay? And this is looking like it's running into some obstacles. And it looks to me like mentally and your subconscious, you're really throwing a fit about this. Like, this has really got you worked up. Okay? This has you stressed out, pissed off, anxious, somewhere in that emotional scale. And what's going on is you're manifesting exactly the opposite of what you want here. And it looks like your subconscious, you're starting to recognize, you're starting to realize that the way you've been handling this, the way you've been looking at this, the way you've been utilizing law of attraction is the opposite of what you really want to do. And so in your subconscious, you're working on, okay, how can I flip this? How can I turn this around to where I'm manifesting what I want here instead of manifesting what I don't want here? So that's what's going on in your subconscious. Very proactive, problem-solving thing happening there. Process happening there. Next, we're looking at your learning style. I think you are looking to learn some very specific information during this time frame. And I think the reason you're looking to find out this information is because there's somebody who you cared about who really didn't treasure your feelings for them. That's the best way I know how to say that. And so there is definitely some emotion involved here. And so you are looking for some very specific information. And I think that information has to do with not only self-protection, I think you may even be kind of on the offense here with this person. Okay? And then as far as communication style, I think there's a lot that you're keeping to yourself. But I do think also that you're talking about something that happened in the past, and you're letting somebody know that the way they treated you or the way they took you for granted is not okay. Is not okay at all. That's what's going on in communication. And I don't think you're mincing any words about it either. All right, next thing we're looking at has to do with your work. You have kind of this interesting dichotomy going on with work. You may be wearing two different hats and doing two different things, because there's something going on where you're being very creative, you're working very independently, you're doing something that really makes you feel good and inspired and happy, and it's something that does support other people. I think you feel really positive about it. But there's also something else going on in work that you are not liking at all. At all. And I think that you don't like this other part of your job or this other part of work that you're doing so much that you are limiting how much of that you're doing. because you just don't enjoy it. And so you may be getting somebody else to pick up that part of your responsibilities, or you may just be limiting the amount of time that you're going to spend on that because it puts you in a bad mood. But there's some kind of boundary you're putting up around this piece that you don't like of work, so that you can focus more on the creative thing, on this thing that you're really enjoying. I feel like there's something that you're doing probably with your hands, but definitely something that you are personally creating that you're really happy about when it comes to work. So really a mixed dichotomy there. Now, whenever we have inner work, your inner work really goes back to something similar to what you had last time, I think, which is that appreciation of yourself, that understanding that you are self-sufficient, that you are enough, that you don't have to have somebody else's good opinion of you, that you don't have to have somebody else as your partner to be able to help you make it through the world, that you are independent and sufficient. And you're putting up boundaries between yourself and people who try to tell you things that are different than this. You're putting up boundaries. In other words, they may not be able to see the boundaries, but mentally you're detaching from when somebody tries to say, well, how are you going to do that all by yourself? Or, it's really hard to make it alone in the world. You're detaching. You're like, I'm not holding on to that thought. I'm not holding on to that energy because I know that I can. Okay? All right. Very good. Very good, Leos. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. There's definitely something coming up with collaboration and partnership, and I think that this is a partnership that is beneficial to you. It's a partnership that makes sense to you. This is a partnership that you're coming into because logic says this is a really good thing to do. Okay? So this is probably, I guess it could be like a romantic partnership if it would be more of a partnership of convenience. But I would say that this leans more towards some other kind of partnership where you're accomplishing something that is not so much romantic. Maybe this is a partnership where you're putting together a band so you can play together, or you're meeting some kind of business partner and putting together a business partnership so you can collaborate on some kind of project. But this is all centered around something that it makes sense to be in this partnership with this person or with other people. That's where you're growing or expanding in your personality right now, and this idea of working together with other people where it makes sense. Partnering up with other people where it makes sense. So what do you stand for? It looks like there's some situation from your past that is showing back up again. And I think that you have told whoever's involved with this situation from your past that you don't want to move forward with it. You don't want a future like that. And so somebody has said to you something about this, well, why would you do that? Isn't this what you wanted? And, you've had to defend yourself for the idea of just saying, you know what, no, I don't want to move forward with what used to be. Okay? Now, how this other person perceives you, well, first of all, they think that you miss this old thing. They think that you miss it, and that they think that you can't get by without it. Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that tie into your personal work of knowing that you are sufficient without somebody else? They don't think you are. They don't know you, do they? They don't think you are. Nope. They feel like you will actually come back into this situation. This is somebody who is really arrogant. Okay? I'm just going to put it out there. This is somebody who's really arrogant. They feel like there's nobody else that you would consider collaborating with. They feel like there's no other similar situation that you would feel like getting into or have the opportunity to get into. They feel like they have no competition. Okay? And they feel like you need them. And they feel like you're going to end up coming back together with them or collaborating with them in whatever way this is. You've got an arrogant, hard-headed knucklehead to deal with there, Leos. That's going to be comical when when they don't have you gnashing your teeth. That's all I can say about that. All right. Let's look at the flex point during this time frame. Oh my gosh. So Leos, obviously you have a strong sense of intuition showing up here. There is somebody in your sphere of influence who is a trickster. This could very easily be our arrogant person that we just saw. And they have decided that you are their target, their ideal, their goal, what they're going for. That's where the energy starts to shift for this particular time frame, is when this person, when you become aware that this person is basically, they've set their sights on you. They have set their sights on you. This is not a particularly healthy person as far as emotionally. I mean, this person could have addiction issues. They could just be generally toxic and super possessive. Yeah, but they've decided you're the one for them, at least for right now. What else is going on at the same time? Well, this person must be a sweet talker, because I think what's going to happen here is that anybody else that you were talking to, or any other competition that you were talking to, whether this is for a business collaboration or a personal collaboration, romantic collaboration, whatever it is, you quit talking to anybody else and you decide you're going to focus on renewing something with this person. So you went from telling them, hey, not interested, to now they're really determined, and so now they've basically worn you down. And so you're not looking at any other options. You're working on working this thing out with this person who shows up to me as being really toxic. What else is going on at the same time? Darn it. As soon as you let this person know that, okay, you'll go ahead and you'll try to get things going with them again, and you'll work on this relationship or these interactions, whatever the case may be for you, this person starts showing his narcissistic tendencies, his or her. They shouldn't be so unfair like that. There are female narcissists. And almost, I think it's just as soon as you say, okay, you've worn me down, all right, I'll do this, then there comes this detachment or this separation between the two of you. I think they separate. It's almost like, oh, I got my goal, yay. Now I'm going to go and pursue some other goal or target. So where do we see you at the end of this time frame? Once we get to the end of this time frame, what I see is you guys are healing up emotionally. And I like that, because what you just went through was definitely a mind spinner there. So you're healing up emotionally. You're like, well, I wasn't so thrilled about this whole idea anyway. So what's the loss here if this person disappeared already that fast? So you're already healing up from this, and you're just picking up where you left off on your life. You're just going forward and you're making preparations. It looks to me like, I think you're making preparations for when this person comes back again, because I think that you're pretty sure they're going to show back up again. And you're kind of mentally preparing yourself for this, because you're feeling like they've already shown you their true colors. Now they've shown you their true colors again. And so now you're just mentally preparing that whatever they say, no matter how charming they are, whatever, I'm not giving this person another chance. Okay? Like I said, whether this is romantic or whether it's business partnership, whatever this is, even if it's friendship, you're soured on it. You're soured on it. They've shown you their true selves too many times for you to keep playing that same game with them. Okay? Which is good. That's progress. That's healing. That's growth. You're getting prepared for when they come back. You're preparing what you're going to say and how you're going to keep yourself insulated from their charms, whatever they may be. All right. So that ends your month, Leos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you also for all the thumbs ups on this video and for sharing this video with other people who may find it helpful. Other people, I mean. Also, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions from me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So once again, thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. If I don't see you for a private reading or a private Reiki session between now and then I'll see you back here on the next video. Peace out.